There's 3 actually. There's the Welsh Cross League final round, which is in Cardiff. Welsh Cyclocross Championship and the round 9 in Newport. So yes, I've entered 3 rounds of the Welsh Cyclocross League. I don't know how to feel. I've finally been allowed to do some cyclocross. Charlie banned me for a number of years because I crashed. I didn't say I crashed badly, but I injured my knee. I was off the bike for 6 weeks.
And you were still riding for teams at that point?
Yeah, I was still tied down. I was racing for teams. I had contracts that I obviously had to race, and my contract depended on it. Whereas now, it's a little bit less dependent on me racing. I'm allowed! I'm free!
You can injure yourself to your heart's content.
First of all, if there's any seasoned cyclocross riders who are a fan of this channel and watching this video, let us know down below, like your top tip or top 2 tips, top 3 tips, what I should consider going ahead into these events. Things like tire pressure, things like practicing, like what to practice beforehand, like from the technical aspect, even training aspect, whatever it could be. Your thoughts greatly appreciated. Jaffa cake. So I've got a little over 2 weeks until the first cyclocross race and probably about a month until the last one. So this is going to be a little period of time where we can see how much can a newbie cyclocross rider improve in a space of a couple of races in a couple of weeks. Real world experiment. Albeit I'm not a newbie cyclist, but I am definitely a newbie cyclocross rider. It's not the first time I've done cyclocross though. I did do cyclocross in 2015, and I'm going to show you some photos of that just in a bit. Let me just make one thing perfectly clear. I'm not going to try and win these cyclocross events. I'm purely doing them as part of a little bit of fun during the winter. I'm doing them as a little bit of an exercise to push myself outside of my comfort zone, to do something a little bit different, and also satisfy some hungry cyclists on that side of the lens who have been wanting me to do some cyclocross on this channel for a while. Now obviously the other thing I don't want to do is get injured. So whatever I do in these races, I will not be taking risks like I did in 2015 where I crashed and injured my knee and then couldn't ride my bike for 6 weeks. So I don't want that situation to happen again. So here's a question. Why is cyclocross so popular? Why is it so well attended? And why is it always very well received by the whole cycling community? I think it's because cyclocross is very accessible. You don't really need a lot of things to do it, and especially nowadays with more bikes going disc brakes, more bikes having more clearance, it is really, for the most part, a simple case of just putting on some knobbly, fatter cyclocross tires. There's lots of series around now, so the events I'm going to be doing are going to be part of the Welsh Cyclocross series, which virtually takes place in South and Mid Wales. But for the most part, there's always a cyclocross race that's fairly local. It's also less technical than something like mountain biking and less intimidating. So for someone like myself who's never done much of either of those two things, cyclocross is a little bit more user-friendly in my eyes. There's no question that cyclocross racing improves your fitness. You know, 1 hour or 45-minute race around some grass, full gas, really does bring you on. And then you talk about the agility aspect and the bike handling aspect. I'm really looking forward to testing those two things over the coming week. And I think as well, it does a lot for grassroots racing. Lots of people can get involved, it's a very safe environment, and more often than not, it's family friendly. And I'd say for the most part as well, it's a very sociable event. For the events that I went to, you know, back in 2015, 2016, they were very friendly places to be. And I think these events put an emphasis on that. So I'm actually really excited to bring you some cyclocross related content and some gravel related content over the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to be doing a bit of both. I'm not going to be getting out there all the time and doing cyclocross drills, skills and technical aspects, But I'll try and implement some gravel riding into things to keep it fun, so that I'm kind of getting my technical aspect from the gravel riding in a way. New descents I've never done before, loose surfaces and all that. Plus, me and Emma now have a weekly date to go out and ride gravel, so that's my excuse. And I've been watching a lot of the cyclocross racing on GCN Plus and Eurosport, particularly the muddy ones, because Wales tends to get a lot of rain. Wales tends to get waterlogged, and it tends to get very, very muddy at some point. So I can imagine that most of the races I'm going to be doing are going to be wet, are going to be muddy, are going to be cold. So rewatching these, both the men's and the women's races, are both entertaining and very educational. See, it looks so much fun. Oh yeah, so if you don't know, if you've never seen cyclocross before, there are pits where you can have spare bikes, and a volunteer can help wash your bike while you do another lap, and then when you come in you can like have a fresh bike, clean tyres and everything else, or maybe even adjust the tyre pressure with somebody who's in the pits. I won't be doing that. I'll just be having one bike, and I'll just have to be mindful about, well, not clogging it up too much. Here's some photos I found of me doing cyclocross back in 2015, and I haven't shown Charlie. I'm gonna call her in now. She hasn't seen these photos in years. Charlie used to do cyclocross on the regular. She actually got me into it. She enjoyed it more than any other side of cycling, and I started watching her doing it. I started supporting, and then I got involved and was far too competitive for my ability level. And you see, let me explain. Ability, fitness. So when I talk about ability, I mean like my technical ability, my dismounting, remounting, bunny hopping, whatever it may be that I need to get around a cyclocross course. Fitness wise, talking VO2 max, we're talking about lactic threshold, we're talking about all that kind of stuff. So my fitness is like up here. If this would be like 100% of like population average, I'm like quite close to being at the top percentile. Ability wise, I'm probably somewhere down there. We need to sort of, over the course of the 3 weeks, we need to sort of get this. So maybe in the first race we get to there, and then by the second race we get to there, and by the third race maybe it's not quite long enough to get any more improvement, but I should hopefully be, over time, improving slightly. I've just realised I've used completely the wrong graph to demonstrate that. I want to show you some photos from 2015, me doing cyclocross.
Aww.
What do you mean, aww? It's
the Bumblebee kit.
Yeah, that was a borrowed bike on a condo.
I think. Where was that?
I thought it was. I think this is the one that I crashed in.
Reckon.
Yeah.
Oh.
So 18th of October. 18th of October. That seems quite early for cyclocross.
No, it
well,
used to run
I
September
wasn't
through to December.
I wasn't hill climbing then.
No.
Even though I'm looking very small. Do I look small?
Yeah.
I look smaller than I do now. I don't have faith in the tyres, see. That's what I have to learn. I have to learn how to trust.
Well, you can, yeah, and if you're that kind of freaked out by it, take your foot out and use that to counter-lever yourself.
True. But again, because I'm a road cyclist, I don't have the...
it's not an automatic.
I still think I'm on road pedals.
Yeah.
And it's harder to get out of road pedals in a hurry.
Yeah.
But when you're on like mountain bike cross pedals, you can disengage really quickly, and that's what I'm learning now through the gravel riding, is how quickly you can actually react. But on the road, you almost don't, you have so much time. Yeah, so there we go. Here begins the journey, and we shall see how we get on. Again, let me know if this is something you've done before. I'm intrigued.